Oh my gosh. The camera is on. Hey guys, welcome to or back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amber Scholes, or at Amber Runs on Instagram. So it's been quite a while since I last picked up Craig, my vlog camera named after Craig Ingalls. That was like, I don't even know, my junior year of high school. Let's not say anything about that. It's taken me a long time to pick back up this vlog camera because a lot has happened in my life and a lot of changes, and I feel like picking up the vlog camera has been very daunting for me because I'm like, I just don't feel ready. But I feel ready now. I feel ready to pick up this camera. I feel ready to share a little bit more of my story and where I'm at than I have been these past couple of months, or even like past 2 years since I first entered college. Gosh, where do I even start? If you guys don't know me, I am a runner. I've been a runner since I was a little tiny little girl. I have been running. My mom has always been a runner as well, and she used to put me in kids races, and I fell in love with running. And I got a lot more competitive whenever I got into middle school. I got second at middle school state championships. I ran a 5:15, 1600 meter, and all throughout middle school I was honed into running. My goal was always to be a pro runner, to be a gold medalist in the Olympics, and like running was my everything. Looking back, I now realize too that like running was a very big outlet for me because growing up, like, I love my family, love my parents. I had such a great childhood, but I also went through a lot, and I struggled with a lot of anxiety when I was younger. I would go to bed shaking, and like, that's something I don't really talk about very much. But when I went into high school, I was still very honed in, so focused on running, and my freshman year I was one of the fastest in the state of Florida. During cross country and during track season, I placed third in the 3000 with like a 10:40 as a freshman. Also ran in the mile. I don't think I did as well in the mile. I was a little gassed. And at the end of my years of middle school, I started to develop an eating disorder. And my freshman year of high school is when my eating disorder really captivated me and captivated my life. And my whole entire life and my whole entire identity became running and my eating disorder. And the only thing honestly I could think about was either food or my goals with running. And I love running with all of my heart, and it has been just saving grace for me and so many really difficult times, but at times it has also become my enemy. And at this time, when I was struggling with my eating disorder at its heights, at its hardest, at its worst spot, it was so easy for me to hide behind a smile and a good performance. I've always been a really happy person, very joyful person. Even throughout the hardest points of my life, I feel like I've always been a very happy, joyful, very high energy type of person. And even when I was struggling with my eating disorder, I was so positive and I was so like happy. And I think that's something that's really important to remember too, is that just because you struggle with a mental illness doesn't necessarily mean you have a bad life. And I feel like for me, although I was struggling a lot with my eating disorder, I was still like a very happy, a very positive person, and I shared that a lot on my social media. And my sophomore year, I still struggled a lot with my eating disorder, but when COVID hit, I entered recovery, and I realized that like I didn't want to be weak anymore. Like when I was younger, I was always like the strong girl. I was the one that everybody wanted on their sports team, and I was like so athletic, I was so fit, I ate a lot, and I just had like a really healthy relationship with my body, with food, with everything. And like I wanted to be that girl again. I wanted to be that Amber again that had that zest for life and had so much energy, so much power. And I entered recovery, and I started eating a lot more again, and I started fueling my body, and I actually started running faster. And that was so motivating for me because I was like, look, I get to do more of the sport that I love. I get to be healthy. I get to feel good on my runs. And my junior year, that cross-country season, I ended up winning states. And after that, I ended up dealing with a really long injury that was really good because it taught me a lot, and it taught me that I was more than a runner. And going into my senior year, I was like, okay, this is just gonna be for fun. Like, this is just for fun. I'm gonna do my best, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna chase my goals, but like, I wanna take the pressure off and be there for my team, be there with my team. And I had the best year of my entire life. And going into college, I was like so ready to go to the next level. I was so ready to push myself to new heights, and I knew what I wanted. I knew where I was going. I was like, I still wanted to be a pro runner. I still like wanted to be an Olympian. I have always had really, really big goals, and throughout high school I was always like, when I get to college, like, game over. Like, that's when things start. That's when, like, I'm gonna achieve all the things that I've been wanting to achieve. I went to college. I moved from Orlando, Florida, which is where I live, where I grew up, where I was raised. I moved to High Point, North Carolina, which is about 9-hour drive, 2-hour plane ride. When I went there, I was very confident in the program that I was going into and what my goals were, and that this place was going to help me get there. And when I got there, it wasn't what I thought it was. The biggest thing for me when I was choosing a college program was to be seen as more than just a runner, because with my mental health struggles in the past and having to go through this time of refinding my identity outside of sport and really going through a lot of mental struggles, I knew that that was going to be one of the things that was most important for me, and somewhere where I knew that, like, if I got injured, that I would be supported. And everything that I thought it was, it wasn't. And to say the least, that year was the worst year of my entire life. Growing up, I always had incredible coaches. I had coaches that saw me as a human before I was a student or before I was an athlete. I had coaches that knew me very well and knew that, like, I am somebody that will push myself to the absolute limit, and when I have a goal, nothing is going to stop me from achieving that. Nothing is going to stop me from achieving that. And the only thing that would stop me from achieving that is me going too hard and pushing myself too hard. My coaches have always nurtured me as a human first, and have always trusted me and trusted my ability to assess my body and know what is right for me and work with me. I've never had a situation in which I was forced to do things through severe pain, wasn't trusted, and was pushed to a limit that wasn't healthy, mentally or physically. In my time in this program, I was forced to run through the worst pain of my entire life. I am somebody that will run through most pains, and I had to learn throughout high school that, like, running through injury pain is not gonna get you better. It's going to put you back, and it's gonna make you hurt even more, make you injured, and in turn that makes you slower. I've never been pushed to run through such severe pain by a coach ever. I've been the one to maybe make a mistake and be like, oh, I'm okay, I can keep running, but I've never been pushed so hard to run through injury pain and being told that it is mental callousing and that running through that was going to be making me a better athlete, when in reality all that was doing was doing severe damage to my body that was going to take me months to recover from physically. Months of not being able to run, to recover, and mentally still really, really struggling with the experience that I had and being pushed through the things that I was pushed through. We were told not to go to the athletic trainers, and at this point I was becoming very depressed, very anxious all the time. And I started crying walking to class every single day. And that's when I knew I needed to go to our athletic trainers. And I obviously couldn't run after that because I was not okay physically, and I was definitely not okay mentally. And I started getting F's in school, being called to the administration's office quite often for my grades, and just not being able to care about anything other than getting out of the situation that I was in. And never been in such a bad spot mentally and physically in my entire life. And I'm not going to share everything about my experience, but to say the least, I am still struggling with a lot of the things that I dealt with there. And I think the biggest thing is kind of just like letting go of that experience and being able to learn from it and move on, and hopefully help a lot of other athletes that may be struggling and dealing with a very toxic and unhealthy environment. And I just want you to know that you're not alone and you're not stuck, and that no matter how alone or stuck you feel, like, this is temporary and you need to reach out for help and you need to advocate for your mental and physical health. I think that is one of the biggest things that I learned, is that, like, if you don't advocate for your mental and physical health, who's going to? Who's going to? I've also never been in an environment in which I was treated differently based off of my performance and based off of my health. I always had coaches that no matter how I performed, I was a person first, and they saw me as more as just like the numbers that I was putting out. Because the truth is that, like, if you're happy and healthy, you're going to be running fast. If you're not healthy and you're not happy, you're not going to run fast. And if you do, it won't last long and it won't be sustainable. At this point, I also wanted to quit running. I was having thoughts of never going back to this sport ever again, and, like, that's crazy because I love this sport more than anything. More than anything. I don't even know how it's possible for somebody to love a sport so much and be so passionate about something. And I wanted to quit. I didn't want to do it anymore. And what I learned is that it was never the sport, it was the environment in which I was doing it in that I didn't love. And I had to remind myself of that. In short, I left. And going into that summer, after being in North Carolina for an entire year, I was riding a high because I was finally free and I was finally able to take care of myself mentally and physically, and I honestly had one of the best summers ever. And I was still working through a lot of trauma that happened, but overall, I was in a really good place because I was excited to embark on my new journey, which was going to be at a college in St. Augustine, Florida. So I knew I was going to be closer to home. It was going to be warm and less of like a really, really intense program, and hopefully I can have like a little bit more of a mental and physical recovery. And when I got there, the coaches were very, very, very helpful with me, and kind of our motto was health plus happiness equals success. Although there was a lot more focus on health and happiness when I was at my new college, the environment that I was in triggered me to have an eating disorder relapse. And I got to a place mentally where I was worse than I was my freshman year of high school. And I was having very scary thoughts that I thought I was past and that I didn't think I'd ever have again. Because after I went through recovery, I was like, I am never going back to that place. I know what it's like. But it's crazy to think how like an environment that you're in can have such an impact on your mental health. And for me, I got into this headspace where I was like, well, I couldn't achieve the things that I wanted to when I was at this D1 college, so I'm going to do it now. I'm going to push myself so hard now that nothing can stop me. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the fastest. I am going to push myself so hard that I can almost make up for everything that I felt I had lost when I was in North Carolina, for all the experiences I feel like I should have had when I was in North Carolina, but I didn't. And to me, I took out all of my frustration, all of my guilt and disappointment within myself on my training, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me. So I did that for a really long time. Obviously, my shin pain started to come back, so I channeled that all into cross training, and I was cross training for a ridiculously large amount of time, and at the same time I wasn't taking care of my body well at all. And I think the biggest thing was I just wasn't taking care of my mind, and I was struggling mentally more than I had since my freshman year of high school. And like, I ended up winning our conference championship, and I hate to say it, but I honestly had such a miserable season, and I made myself miserable. And I tend to do that a lot in a lot of different things, and it's something that I'm working on and that I'm very aware of, that I make myself miserable. And as much as I am a joyful and I'm a positive person, there's a lot of things I need to work on. Obviously, everybody has so much that they need to work on. And one of those things is that I feel like I had such an opportunity to have a really fun and a really good season. But obviously I do have a mental illness, and that is an eating disorder. And the environment that I was in when I was there was not good for me. And I, in turn, made myself miserable, but I also know that I have to remember that it's not my fault, and the truth is that sometimes those things are going to happen, but you have to get back up, and you have to keep fighting, and you have to keep pushing, and you have to keep going. And the rest of that season, after I won conference, my body pretty much just broke down, and physically, mentally, I was just not there anymore, and I was so done with the season, and I knew that I just needed to slow down and like take care of myself and get myself out of that situation that I was in. So I left, and I'm currently living at home and taking some time off of school, because at the same time I also had just no idea what I wanted to major in. I've changed my major 3 or 4 times, and I realized I was like, I don't want to keep almost wasting my time here if like the only thing that I'm doing is like running in college, when I don't even really know what I want to study or what I want to do. And like mentally and physically, I just needed to take a step away from all of it, and I needed to assess myself and heal myself mentally and physically, so that I wasn't just going through the motions of life, and I wasn't just doing what everybody always was telling me that I needed to do. I knew I needed to do what I knew was best for me. And that's something that I'm working on now, is being the most authentic self that I can. And instead of listening to outside noise or trying to pretend that I'm okay, or pretend like everything's joyful and happy and that I'm not completely lost, I'm working on being the most authentic self that I can. Not only with the people around me, with my loved ones, with the people that I'm close to, but also with myself, and assessing myself, doing a lot of self-reflection, and realizing that life has a lot of opportunities. We have so many opportunities, but sometimes we are going to take a different path than what we thought we were going to take. And I think that that's somewhere where I'm at now, is that like I had in my brain for so long that like, okay, I'm going to kill it in high school, and then I'm gonna go off to college and I'm gonna kill it even more. I'm gonna go to a D1 program. I'm gonna stay at the same program for 4 or 5 years, and I'm gonna break all the records. I'm gonna be the best in the program, and like, I have no doubt that I'm capable of a lot of those things, but at the same time, not everything's gonna go as planned. And I've dealt with mental health issues, I've dealt with injuries, and I've dealt with a lot, and I know I've overcame a lot, and I know that it's all happening for a reason so that I can become a stronger version of myself, but at the same time that I know I can help so many others, and I don't want my story to go to waste. I don't want my story to slip under the rug and not be shared. And there's so much more that I want to share, and there's so much more that I want to be raw and authentic and tell you guys about, and just help anyone out there that's struggling know that they're not alone, and you're worth it. This life is worth it, and we need to keep pushing. We need to keep going, and we need to believe in ourselves and trust that even if things are really hard right now, they're gonna get better. They're gonna get better, and we're gonna get past this hard time, and it's all one day going to make sense. We're gonna be able to be like, I see why I went through that time. I see why I went through that year that was just the hardest year of my life. And I see why after that, I then had a mental relapse, and it all happened for a reason, because now I can help these people, or now I'm in this place and I've learned this. And like, I'm saying that so anybody out there that is struggling with something right now, they know that there's a reason that they're struggling with it, and that they are going to overcome it, and that they are going to become a stronger version of themselves because of it. I think for me, it was very difficult because when I was in high school, I just had such an amazing experience, and I expected my college experience to be a better one. And the past couple of months have been very difficult since not being in college, because I've been very disappointed in how things have gone, and in myself for not doing more. But at the same time, I've also been reminding myself that there's so many different seasons to life. There are so many different chapters, and this is just one chapter. And although it's not a chapter I'm loving, it's a chapter that I know isn't so necessary for me, and it's a chapter that I know is going to make me a stronger version of myself. And me making this video is just the start of that, because I know me sharing my story and continuing to share my story is going to help so many others, because that's also something that has helped me so much even in the past. Throughout high school, being able to pick up this camera and share what I've been through, share what I've learned, has always been honestly one of the most healing things for me. And like right now, me making this YouTube video is honestly just me ripping off the band-aid, because I've been wanting to make this. I've been wanting to talk to you guys, and I know that within myself, I hold myself back in so many ways because I don't do things that I know I need to do. Things that I know I want to do, but I don't do them because of almost like a mental block and a fear, and I'm not going to let that rule my life anymore. I don't want that to let that rule my life anymore, because I know that I have so much to offer, and I have so much to do on this earth, and I want to do it, and I'm excited to do it, and I have so many goals, and I have so many things that I want to achieve and accomplish, and I am so excited to bring you guys along with me, and also just to continue growing. But yeah, the last 2 years have been a very hard time for me, but I know that where I'm at right now, I'm making a lot of progress. I actually have started coaching now, and I have found such a love and such a passion for helping others reach their goals, and not just physically but mentally, and like helping people fall in love with running. Like a lot of my athletes that I've been working with one-on-one are like people who have had like a really bad experience in running, and they want to find their love and their joy for it again. And like I've just been helping my athletes kind of like learn their body and trust their body, and not feel so much pressure to do any sort of run distance or run time, but like really hone in and listen to themselves, and just find such a love and such a joy for running, whether that's them actually getting into it, or like getting back into it, or maybe literally just trying to learn how to trust themselves and learn their body. And it's brought me so much joy. And I also like when I was feeling really, really lost, at the beginning of not being in college anymore and everything, I actually saw my club coach, and he is the one that told me, he was like, have you like thought about coaching, pretty much? And he was like, you'd be a great coach, like you already do so much online and like stuff like that. And I was like, just started crying tears of joy, and I was just so like, wait, I don't know why I've never thought of this. I actually think I would so love that. So I've actually also been coaching with him at my old club team, which I trained with all throughout high school and my middle school years, and he is the reason I am the athlete and the person that I am today. He's the reason I am such a good communicator, and why I hold a lot of confidence in myself. He is like a second dad to me, and I truly am just so grateful for him. And yeah, I just like loved coaching with the middle schoolers and high schoolers, and it's brought me so much fulfillment, and I'm excited to continue to coach, and hopefully I could see myself doing that so much in the future, and I just want to be involved in this sport and take any opportunity that I can. So my plan is to finish out getting my AA at a community college, and I'm training with a coach now that I trust very, very much, and he's helping me so much, not only physically but mentally, mostly mentally, and we're just focusing on health is wealth. Health is wealth. Mental and physical health is wealth, and consistency over time is what is going to get you results, not grinding out for 100 minutes every single day and just praying that you stay healthy, because that's not going to get you where you want to go. Even if we're running 4 days a week, that's going to be so much better than trying to run 7 days a week and getting yourself hurt. And like, he's really just been helping almost like hold me back in a sense, like hold the rails to keep me inside the lines so that I can make progress, instead of me being like, well, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to like get myself hurt. So he's been helping me just so much. And yeah, so right now I'm coaching, I'm training, and I just got a job at a running store actually, and then I'm going to finish getting my AA at a community college, and from there we're going to see what I'm going to do. If I'm going to go round 3 in college of running, or we'll see. But I have a lot of plans in my head about my future and what's to come. I have so many cool ideas to just help the running world, and I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to take the opportunities. I know this video was a little bit all over the place, and I pray that it made sense to you all, but I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot, and I've overcome a lot the last couple of months, even though it's been the hardest couple of years, pretty much, of my life. I know that it all happened for a reason, and yeah, I love you guys very, very much. There's so much more to come for this YouTube channel and everything. I'm so grateful, and even though life is not my favorite right now, I'm okay with admitting that, because I know it's going to get better, and I'm going to keep pushing to be a better version of myself, not only for me, but for what I can offer this world, and for you guys, for my loved ones, for everyone. And big thank you to every one of my supporters if you're watching this. My boyfriend, my mom, my dad, Coach Dustin, Coach Mike, my club coach, all of you guys have helped me so much. And even at like High Point, Kaylee, Sonia, our athletic trainer, like I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for all of the people that have stood by me, supported me, and lifted me up when I fall down and hit my face really, really hard. I would not be here if it wasn't for all of the people supporting me and helping me and pushing me forward. So a reminder to you to reach out for help and lean on the people that love you and that care about you, because support system is probably one of the most important things in life. And lean on the people you love, and the people that love you, and the people that care about you. Trust them, listen to them, and also listen to yourself and trust yourself. If you made it this far in the video, comment, keep going, as a reminder to all of us to keep going and keep pushing for ourselves. I love you guys so much. Remember to stay positive, stay hype, and live your life on a runner's high. Peace out.